Hey guys, what's up? It's been a while. I have been trying to record a video for a very long time, and I just I don't know. I kind of lost the motivation to do this because of my personal beliefs of stuff I've been just thinking in general. I've just been thinking what's the point? Let me just try to record this video right now. I'm not going to try to make it too long cuz whatever. But let me just go back to a couple months ago when I was recording videos. I was supposed to record a third video, and I was with it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then my phone just happened to stop working out of nowhere. It was weird, and so then I was without a phone for a little bit, right? And during that time, it was very eye-opening because just I feel like we were all, especially now during this whole shutdown or whatever, we're very dependent on our phones as a source of a window to the world, because we can't be out there, can't be in other countries, other places to see it for ourselves. So we depend on our phones or some sort of media coverage, and it's I don't know how I feel about it in general. It's I don't think phones are a bad thing. They're a great way to network, get exposure, get your ideas out and stuff like that. So I think it's very innovative and effective in that sense. So when I didn't have my phone, it was I didn't have any access to anything because I don't watch TV or the news. So it's just nothing was real for me during that period except myself and my life. And all I really had to think about was what am I gonna do today? How am I gonna get through today? That's it. It was a little break from everything, right? And during that time, I watched this film, Being John Malkovich, by Charlie Kaufman. He wrote it, right? And that is also the writer of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is one of my favorite movies. And he also wrote I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is a new film on Netflix that just came out. I don't know how long ago, but it's pretty recent, this year at least. And I just noticed the underlying themes in Charlie Kaufman's movies are very existential, right? It's all about putting stuff into perspective and how real anything is. And I really enjoyed Being John Malkovich. The fact that it none of these movies make any sense, especially I'm Thinking of Ending Things, from start to finish. It's just a big what the fuck. There's no structure, there's no timeline, no sense of time, no sense of really anything, which is kind of deep, because that is the point. It's one of those, it's kind of corny or whatever, oh, it's up for interpretation, but literally it is, because there's nothing to it. And that's the beauty of it. I feel it's a great example of life itself. It's just there's no real structure except what you assign to it, what you take from it, and what you perceive, and it's very it's philosophical or whatever. And then Eternal Sunshine is also just it's like that in a sense. I'm Thinking of Anything is totally makes no sense. Then Eternal Sunshine is there's a little backstory, you get it, but then it talks about trying to escape your own mind, right? Hiding. If you haven't watched it, you should just watch it. But it's trying to conserve a memory. It's so trippy as well. It's what the hell. Then Being John Malkovich talks about conserving your youth and your life by hiding within a vessel in the brain, which is it's what, right? But what the fuck if this is, it's it talks about escaping death and just seeking a new vessel to elongate your own life. And it's whoa, it's bro, what the hell. And then just during this time I didn't have any connection to anything, and it was just very eye-opening for my personal life. I also started to read The Four Agreements, which is also very existential and just talks about our place in the world and the fact that we're alive in a dream, right? I was just reflecting a lot on my personal life, and I just started to get very discouraged on the things I was talking about, because all of it was physical and didn't really exist past our perception of it, because I feel we always dictate value to things that just are. And that, I think, is where corruption comes from us trying to possess things and assign them a value in our life, a place in our life. We assign it its role in existence when it just is, and that's just it, you know what I'm saying? like, things just are. Nothing exists with our perception of it, you know? It's like, so, like, everything I was talking about, especially something, like, so man-made, like, it's not even something physical, like, the presidential election and all these things. These are just things that, you know, we made up. And for us to be so indulged in it is just very, like, I don't know. It's hard to talk about because, you know, there is a reality behind it. It's like, it's very serious. Like, people are dying. People are affected by these superficial constructs, right? So it's like, I'm always conflicted. Like, so basically the reason I wasn't talking about these things, which I was going to make videos on, is that, like, I felt I was becoming too consumed by the ideas of these things that exist outside of myself. I feel like that's something very interesting, the fact that, like, ideas are not really your own. Like, ideas are very subjective to your environment and what you are exposed to in your life, which is why truths, I always talk about this, different truths are valid, because my truth is mine. I can tell you about what I believe, and, like, you totally can dismiss it just because it's like, it's not real for you, you know, and I respect that 100% because I understand, you know, it's sociology, nature versus nurture, the way you grew up, the things you saw, the things you felt, and the things, you know, heard, all of it play a part in what you think and what you believe, you know. So it's like, ugh, I don't even know what the hell I was talking about, but but yeah, what I will say though is that, like, the two-party system is a divide and conquer tactic, 100%, bro. Like, the choice, the illusion of giving you just two things, like, of course there's more parties, but, like, you never really hear about the other ones, and that's, like, a whole nother conversation, because it's like, why, you know? I think the primary candidates in any election just have the most money. They don't have the best interest. They don't have your best interest in mind. They just have the most money. They get the most exposure. They get the most, you know, TV time, the most talk time, all of that. And it's like, because politics are just corrupt, and that's the truth. Yeah, so I just, like, yeah, like, it's like, I was going to talk more about, like, the presidential election and this and that, and I'm just like, what's the point? You know, like, what is the point? Like, I truly don't believe it matters, so why am I going to even try to, like, explain anything? Like, it was just, like, whatever, bro. Like, nothing is real. Like, for one, though, the two-party system, I think, is, like, it was just created to divide and ultimately conquer. It pins people against each other and just, like, literally blinds us from, like, fighting the real power, the Federal Reserve. Like, do you actually think, like, the presidents do much? And, like they, okay, of course, like, they sign things, they do things, but I don't think it's really them. It's, like, the person that tells them what to do. They're just, like, the face front. They're the puppets, you know? I don't really think voting really matters, because I think the real owners of the fucking United States and the world are just the ones with the money, the banks, all of these, you know, people that had ties to creating the monetary system. Those are the people you need to be fighting. You need to be, you know, resenting them. You need to be going after them, not the presidential candidates. They're, like, the minimum of every actual corrupt thing that's going on in the world right now. And it's just crazy to see people turn their backs on one another because of, like, political agendas and ideas and all of this. Let's also talk about how hard it's become to, you know, even be productive within your own life. Especially me, myself. I feel like I'm too worried about saving everyone that it's just making me stagnant within my own life. Like, I feel like I can't continue my own life because it's like, how could I continue, you know, doing these regular things when there's people dying, when there's people suffering? And, like, I've talked about this before, and it's so bad, especially for myself, because I feel so much. Like, it's I started to, like, try to not consume it, which is so dangerous, and it's crazy that it has to come to that point. Like, the quote, ignorance is bliss, is, like, the realest and most truest thing ever, bro. Like, and it's sad. Like, I look at people and I'm like, how could they just go about their days? How could they just be worrying about this and that when it's like people are dying, people are, you know, suffering? Like, you don't realize the fact that you can ignore these things, like, your privilege. People that this is their reality. They cannot choose to ignore it. They can't turn their backs to it. They are affected by it day in, day out. And it's like, if you choose to, oh, I'm gonna stay off social media today because like, I just don't want to see these things, like, the privilege that reflects on your being, you know. And I can do that. I can easily turn off my phone and not be affected by anything, like I did when my phone was off and I had nothing to worry about except myself. And the point is, it's not that you can't, you know, turn off your phone and just disconnect. You can, but also, like, I feel like you just have to acknowledge your privilege and be constantly working on how you will play a part in the revolution of this, you know, this whole mess, you know. It doesn't have to be, oh, today, tomorrow, but like long term. Hey, when I get a job and I become a boss and I have my own place, I will make sure I hire, you know, a BIPoC. I will make sure I amplify these voices and, you know, talk about these things and do deals with people that support this and that. And, you know, like, that's what we got to do. We got to start calling out, you know, these companies, these businesses, these freaking corporations that have become so successful off the exploitation of BIPoC. Also, I want to say that you do not have to save the world. Like, that's a very naive thought, and it's okay, and it's very, very innocent. It's a very innocent thought, to think and hope that you can, you know, do these things. But there's a lot we need to dismantle first to eventually get to that part. So just start where you can and do what you can. Go as far as you can, you know what I'm saying? Don't over fucking, like, consume, because you're gonna burn out. Like, let's just admit it, you're gonna burn out. It's happened to me. It's happened to the best of us, bro. Like, we try, and then through that burnout, I just kind of realized, like, it's very sad, but, like, I just thought about how hard it will be. And, like, you have to realize, like, there's evil at play here. There's a lot of power going to the wrong place, you know. And it's like, there's been years upon years upon years of work that have gone behind this, you know, this life. I've just come to realize that, like, it's gonna be a lot harder to fight the power, and it might be a lot more dangerous for us to fight the power. So what I can say is that I just feel like what I can do, and what I've asked the universe, you know, what is it that I have to do? What is my play in this whole, you know, life? What is my part to do? I have to acknowledge my privilege in the world, my privilege in America, which I can use compound interest in my advantage. I can use all these systems that ideally were not made for me because my parents were never supposed to be here. I can use that and rebel against this system in the most gangster way, bro. Like, just become something of myself, make money for myself, you know, and eventually give back to these communities, these underserved communities, give back to the people that need it. That's the only way I feel like we really have a chance at changing the system from the inside out. Just rebelling and making money work for you. Like, gaining, if you are privileged, because you got to understand, like, this information is not accessible to everyone, and it's because it's not supposed to. So if you have the privilege to educate yourself and learn about money and make something of yourself, make sure you're doing your part in giving back, because not everyone has that privilege. And if you care about any of the things that are going on in the world, that's what you should be doing. That's what you should be doing with your money, you know, gaining and learning about financial independence, financial freedom, liberating yourself from, you know, this work life that will suck the whole life out of you, the real life, you know, the meaning of life out of you, and make something of yourself and eventually give back. Like, that's the easiest way I see we can change the system. Giving back ourselves, using the system that works for you. You know, I'm Mexican, and I can acknowledge that I've never faced any discrimination. I've never faced any, you know, anything really, because my skin complexion is fairly light. Like, nobody ever even assumes that I'm Mexican. My English is fluent, and, you know, I've been very privileged in my upbringing. Of course, you know, my parents are still 100% Mexican, and they are, you know, I love them and I thank them for everything that I am and giving me the opportunity to make something for our people. And if I can do anything to give back to them, it will be just that, you know, making something for them and everyone else that I care about. That being strangers in the street that need help, like that, I care about everyone, and that's what I feel my purpose in this life is to do. I'm studying sociology because I understand, you know, these connections about disparities and all these things, and it's like so deep. And I do want to make a change, and it's like it's the way about going about things, because I become very like inspired and motivated, and I want to do so much at once that once I can't achieve everything, I just feel like I become overwhelmed and I do nothing. I've just become totally stagnant. So I just have to like think of a better way of approaching these things. Just gotta like take it a day at a time, and don't feel guilty. Continue to speak about all these things. Make sure you're always actively working to dismantle racism in the workplace, in your home, in your life, in your friendships, in your all of this. Like, don't be afraid. Like, it's 2020. Like, this has been going on for way too long, and it starts with you. It starts with your own thoughts. You might be performative and post these things and this and that, but you still have like prejudiced thoughts, racist thoughts. And it's not always your fault. Sometimes it's like it's your environment, and I understand that. But if you can recognize it and it doesn't feel right for you anymore, like, just don't be afraid to call people out. Have conversations. Have these these topics of discussion everywhere in your life, because this is where it starts. It starts with you. It starts with your heart, your mind, your subconscious, most importantly, because you can trick your mind into thinking and talking and believing and this and that, but if it still exists in your subconscious, it will be projected into your life. It's projected in every aspect of you. You know what I'm saying? You gotta cleanse your subconscious mind, restart and reprogram your subconscious mind, and take in only what you want, only what resonates with your being, only what you believe to the core of your heart, what feels right within you. It's been such a long time since I've even talked about this, because like I said, I've been very discouraged to talk about these things, because like I just feel like I get overwhelmed talking about them. So that's why I apologize that this video is like all over the place. So thank you guys if you heard me. Just know that like everything is gonna be okay in the end. Go within. The only source that will never lie to you is your spirit, 100%. If you're having these thoughts about existence and this and that, and you're just becoming overwhelmed, where you feel like you're not being productive anymore, go within. Don't be afraid to disconnect for just a moment, and ask your being, ask the universe what it is that your purpose in this life is to do. Don't take in too much. Don't put too much weight on yourself. Do what you can and go as far as you can. That is the most important thing in effective change. Thank you so much for listening to me. As always, I appreciate it. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you comment, and feel free to hit me up whenever. This is a conversation. I'm open to anything. You guys know that. Just make sure you're taking care of yourself and being safe.